lymphatic drainage and you're just not seeing results. And you're like, what the heck? Dr. Kaylin, this is not working. Well, here's 5 of the most common reasons why somebody isn't seeing the results despite putting in the effort. Now, before I get to those 5, I want you to double check and think about a few things before you jump to the conclusion that it's not actually working. First question I want you to ask yourself is, how long have you been doing it? Meaning, have you only done it a week, but you've been living with these symptoms for years? Might not be long enough. So you gotta give it time and you have to be consistent, which is number 2. How consistent are you? Like, are you doing it every day? If not, you might actually have to. Think about like a stagnant river or a pond or even a ditch where water's not moving. That water gets gross. It gets thick. And if we don't get it moving, it just continues to get gross and thick. And it's gonna take some time to get that water moving, right? So you gotta be consistent. And then the other are 3 things, the 3 principles that I talk about, meaning, are you being considerate? Are you taking into consideration the pressure? Are you using too much pressure? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my other video where I talk about how to determine the amount of pressure. The second one is the order. Are you doing lymphatic drainage in the correct order in order for you to get the best results? Meaning, if you're jumping from location and lymph node and you're skipping, you might not be getting the best results. And if you don't know what I'm talking about order, watch this video. It'll tell you all about the order. And then the last one for the principles is the direction, meaning, are you moving the fluid in the right direction to ensure proper drainage? If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch this video. Now, with that being said, let's say all of those things, you're like, yes, 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 I'm doing it. Then there could be one of these 5 things that's preventing you from getting the results that you deserve and you should be seeing, especially with putting in the time and effort. So the very first thing I want you to start to notice is, how much are you sitting? Lack of movement actually will congest our lymphatic fluid. Remember, our lymphatic system does not have a pump, meaning, like, unlike our heart, right, that's pumping our blood everywhere, our lymph only moves when we move it. And when we move it, it's either going to be us physically moving our body, contracting our muscles, getting our heart rate up, because our lymph and our blood vessels do lie pretty close to one another, almost side by side. So when our heart rate goes up and our heart starts pumping and beating faster, that lymphatic vessel sitting next to the blood supply, that pumping action is going to help move that lymphatic fluid up. So we do have to move our body. We have to contract our muscles, because contracting the muscles is also going to help move lymphatic fluid, right? Most of the lymphatic vessels that we're dealing with are below the surface of our skin, which sits on top of the muscle, sits on top of the fat, which is why we got to move our body. So if we're sitting extended periods of time, like at a desk for work 8 hours a day, in a car to commute to and from work, taking our kids to and from like practice, athletic practice or school, whatever it may be, if we're sitting extended periods, it's absolutely going to affect our lymphatic drainage. So take a peek and see, how often are you sitting? Maybe you got to move your body more. The second thing that's going to contribute to improper lymphatic drainage or you not getting results is the type of clothing you're wearing. Now hear me out. I'm not telling you gotta change the clothes that you wear, but know that tight restrictive clothing is actually gonna prevent our lymph from flowing, right? Because if all of that lymphatic fluid is sitting just below the surface of our skin, but we are wearing tight clothes, whether it's a tight underwire bra, and when you take your bra off and you see marks on your skin, on your rib cage, you can assure yourself that that fluid is not draining while you're wearing that bra. Now, I'm not telling you don't wear a bra. I'm telling you maybe get a different bra, get one that's properly fitted, and if you don't have to wear underwire, don't. I don't own any underwire bras. With that being said, I'm not a large-breasted woman, so I can get away with wearing things like bralettes and sports bras and things like that, but those still have to be fitted properly. If you wear things like socks, and your socks, when you take them off, you have the sock lines on your calves and your ankles, that is also going to restrict lymphatic fluid from draining. Or tight yoga wear. Now, don't get me wrong, I am guilty of wearing yoga pants, but you better gotta believe that when I take them off, if I see like the seam lines on my legs, I'm gonna do some lymphatic fluid drainage. I'm gonna do some manual massage to get that fluid moving because it wasn't moving properly while I was wearing those clothes. So take note of the type of clothes that you're wearing, and if they're leaving marks on your skin when you take them off, I'm gonna highly encourage you to do some lymphatic drainage. And maybe wear it as least amount as possible, meaning take the bra off when you get home. Wear it when you're out at work or out and about, but when you get home, take it off. Just some suggestions. The third thing that can restrict lymphatic fluid drainage is having scars, fascial adhesions. Now, what does that mean? If you have a scar from, say, a surgery, a C-section, an appendix removed, a gallbladder removed, a broken femur, whatever it may be, the scar tissue is going to affect how your lymphatic vessels drain. It's going to be a lot harder. Scar tissue is thicker, it's more dense, and it doesn't lie in alignment, meaning it's more cross sections. It's stronger now because of the damage, which we need, but it doesn't have the same give as skin that doesn't have scars. So if you have scars from either a surgery, you've had lymph nodes removed, you've had a mastectomy, anytime that the lymphatic system has been changed or compromised because of an injury or surgery, it's absolutely going to affect drainage. So some of the things that I've seen necessary is breaking up the scars, breaking up the fascial adhesions by different stretches, by manually stretching, using things like cups or gua sha tools in order to break up those adhesions and make that area more supple, making it easier for fluid to flow. The fourth one that a lot of people are surprised with is improper breathing. And you're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about, improper breathing? Well, most of us are shallow chest breathers. We are not belly breathing every day, all day. That's how we should be breathing. We need that belly breathing, that diaphragmatic breathing in order to, one, massage the internal organs like liver and gut, which are some of the biggest lymph-producing organs in our body, especially liver. But two, it's that up and down motion of our diaphragm that's going to help pull the lymphatic fluid from our belly button below, meaning all the lymphatic fluid from our internal organs and both legs up into the thoracic duct in order for it to drain. If we are not diaphragmatic breathing, we are not going to be properly draining. And what that means is you're going to be more likely to hold on to lymph fluid, belly button and below. So if you're somebody that has stagnant lymph in your ankles, in your knees, you gotta make sure you're practicing that diaphragmatic belly breathing in order to really pull that fluid up into the thoracic duct, because it dives deep and we cannot massage the thoracic duct. It's not gonna happen. The only way we're gonna get that fluid to move is by proper belly breathing. So that's number 4. And the last one is you might actually have some dysfunction with one or multiple of your other drainage organs. So we talked about lungs. Lungs is one of our drainage organs, how we're breathing. But the other 2 big ones that I see most commonly affected when somebody has chronic lymphatic stagnation is liver and gut. Our liver produces 25 to 50% of the lymphatic fluid that needs to go through that thoracic duct that I just talked about. Can you imagine if that liver is under functioning or not functioning properly, like in fatty liver or cirrhosis or hepatitis? And those are just some examples of a dysfunctional liver, but you might not even have a quote unquote diagnosis. Your liver might just be overworked because of all the exposures throughout your life. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's the house that you lived in, maybe it's, being surrounded by people that wear perfume and cologne all day. Who knows? It could be anything. But if your liver is under functioning, it's going to start to produce more lymphatic fluid, which is then going to be harder for your lymphatic system to deal with. So we got to make sure we're loving on our liver. And some examples of gut dysfunction could be leaky gut. It could be absorption issues. It could be food sensitivities. All of those things are going to contribute to gut dysfunction. And remember, a lot of our lymph is actually in our gut. So those 3, including lung, but those 3 are the big big ones when it comes to drainage. And I cannot tell you which one happened first, but I can assure you that if you're having stagnant lymph, you have to look at how your liver's functioning and how your gut is functioning. And you can do liver via, blood tests, that kind of thing. And gut, you can go off of blood tests as well, or a stool test, or you can go off symptoms. Let me know below if this was eye-opening as to what could be contributing to why you might not be getting the results with your lymphatic drainage efforts that you were really hoping for. And I hope this encourages you to dig a little deeper, because I've seen and had many amazing outcomes with clients and social media followers in my community when they started to look and break down some of these things. Thanks so much for being here. Happy draining.